John Wayne, the hero who never was. The world knew him as the ultimate war hero, a symbol of courage who led thousands of men to victory on the silver screen. But John Wayne had a secret that ate him alive every single night. He had never heard a real bullet fly. He had never smelled the smoke of a true battlefield. He was a man living a lie until a cold morning in 1962, when a ghost from the Korean War knocked on his hotel room door. But why was the toughest man in Hollywood suddenly trembling? What could a 68-year-old stranger say that would break the legendary Duke? Stay with me, because what happened in that room changed John Wayne and American cinema forever. By 1962, John Wayne was more than an actor. He was an icon. To the American public, he was the man who won World War II and tamed the Wild West. But behind the scenes, Wayne was Marion Morrison, a man haunted by the choice he made in 1941. While his friends Henry Fonda and Jimmy Stewart were risking their lives in real cockpits and foxholes, Wayne stayed in Hollywood. The studio told him he was too important to fight. They said the country needed his movies for morale. But deep down, Wayne felt like a coward. Every time he put on a military uniform for a movie, it felt like a costume of shame. He felt he was playing a part he didn't earn. He was the great American hero who stayed home. This was the hidden crack in his armor, a guilt that grew heavier with every award and every box office hit. He thought he could bury this guilt under his fame. He thought he could outrun his past in the red sands of Monument Valley. But he was wrong, because some debts can only be paid in person. It was exactly 6 a.m. The desert air was biting cold. Wayne was preparing for another day of filming The Searchers. Then, the knock came. Soft, persistent, like a heartbeat. Wayne opened the door. An old man stood there. Robert Chun. He wasn't a journalist. He wasn't a stalker. He looked like a man who had died years ago but forgot to tell his body. His eyes were fixed on Wayne's face with a look that wasn't admiration. It was something much darker, something that made the Duke's blood run cold. The old man stepped into the room without an invitation. He reached into his coat pocket. Wayne watched his hand, expecting a weapon or perhaps a letter. But what the man pulled out was something Wayne never expected to see. Something that linked his Hollywood lies to a bloody frozen ridge in Korea. What was in that man's hand? Was it a threat? Or was it a mirror that John Wayne was finally forced to look into? The Duke had faced countless outlaws on screen, but he had never faced a father's grief. The old man's hand emerged from his coat. It wasn't a weapon. It was a tattered, dirt-stained movie poster of Sands of Iwo Jima. But this wasn't just any poster. On the back, there was a name written in faded ink. David Chun. "My son," Robert said, his voice cracking like dry wood. He was 20. He was in the hills of Korea, shivering in a foxhole. He carried this poster every day. He didn't have a photo of his mother. He had you. Wayne looked at the poster, and for the first time in his life, he felt the crushing weight of his own shadow. David told me in his last letter, the man continued, that whenever he was afraid, he would look at your face. He thought you were the bravest man on earth. He thought that if John Wayne could survive, he could too. Robert stepped closer, his eyes burning with a terrible honesty. But you weren't there, Mr. Wayne. You were in a studio. You were eating warm meals while my son was eating frozen mud. You were winning fake battles while he was losing a real life. You gave him a courage that wasn't real, and it led him straight to his grave. Wayne's knees felt weak. The room felt like it was closing in. He wanted to apologize, but how do you apologize for a legend that kills? But then, the old man said something that made Wayne realize this wasn't just about the past. "I didn't come here to blame you," Robert whispered. "I came here because of what David found right before he died. He found out the truth about you, Duke. And it's not what you think." Wayne stared at him, frozen. What could a dying soldier possibly find out about a Hollywood star thousands of miles away? What could a soldier in a frozen foxhole learn about a movie star? Wayne braced himself for a scandal, for a secret that could destroy his career. But as Robert Chun began to speak again, the truth was far more haunting than any headline. David found a magazine, Robert whispered, an old Hollywood gossip column that made its way to the front lines. It talked about your medical deferment. It talked about how you stayed behind to film romantic comedies while other actors were jumping into Normandy. Wayne looked away, his jaw tight. He expected the man to spit on him. But Robert did something else. My son read that article, and he laughed. Wayne's head snapped back. He laughed. Yes. Robert nodded. He realized that the Duke was a character. He realized that you were just a man, scared and flawed, just like him. And that, Mr. Wayne, that was the moment he truly became a soldier. Because he realized he didn't need a god to lead him. He just needed to know that a regular man could choose to be brave. Think about that for a second. Imagine being in a world where everyone expects you to be a giant, while you feel like a dwarf. Wayne had spent decades pretending. But in that cold hotel room, he realized that his lies had inadvertently given a dying boy the most human gift of all, the permission to be afraid, yet still keep fighting. The old man stood up. He left the dirt-stained poster on the table. I didn't come for an apology, Duke. I came to tell you that David forgave you. Now, it's time for you to forgive yourself. The door clicked shut. Wayne was alone, but the air in the room had changed. 2 hours later, he was on the set of The Searchers. The desert sun was brutal. John Ford was yelling. The scene was supposed to be a simple meeting with an extra. But when Wayne looked at the young man approaching him, he didn't see an actor. He saw David. Wayne didn't follow the script. He didn't give the tough look. He did something that horrified the director. Something that had never happened in a John Wayne movie before. He stopped. He reached out. And the entire crew gasped at what he did next. What did John Wayne do that silenced 100 crew members in the middle of the desert? For 30 years, he had been a machine. One take. Perfect lines. Never showing a crack. But as the cameras rolled in Monument Valley, the machine finally broke. Action. Ford's voice boomed. Wayne started his walk. The dust swirled around his boots. The young extra, Tom Harrison, approached him. According to the script, Wayne was supposed to shove him aside and deliver a cold, hard line. But as their eyes met, Wayne saw the dirt-stained poster in his mind. He saw David Chen's face. Wayne stopped. He didn't shove the boy. Instead, his hand reached out and gripped the extra's shoulder. Not with strength, but with a desperate, trembling fatherly touch. Cut! Cut! Ford screamed. Duke, what are you doing? You look like you're about to cry. Get it together. But Wayne couldn't get it together. He turned away from the camera. His back was to the desert, his shoulders shaking. The man who won the war on screen was losing a battle against his own soul. He realized that he wasn't crying for David Chun. He was crying for the man he had spent his whole life pretending to be. He was crying for Marion Morrison. Later that night, Wayne didn't go to the cast party. He stayed in his trailer with the lights off. He took a pen and a small piece of paper. He wrote a letter. No one knows exactly what was in that letter, but we know who it was addressed to. The Department of the Army. The next morning, Wayne was different. He didn't just play the role, he lived it. But as the filming of The Searchers neared its end, a telegram arrived. It was from the Pentagon, and the message inside would force Wayne to make a choice that could end his career, or finally set him free. The telegram from the Pentagon was shaking in his hand. Was it a reprimand? Was it a call to finally serve at age 55? No, it was a response to the letter Wayne had sent weeks ago. A letter asking for something no one in Hollywood would ever dare to ask. Wayne had asked the Army to let him go to the front lines of Vietnam, not as an actor, but as a nameless observer. He didn't want the cameras. He didn't want the glory. He wanted to see the truth that David Chun had died for. The Army's response was simple. You are more valuable as a symbol, Mr. Wayne. Stay where you are. For the first time, Wayne realized that he was a prisoner of his own legend. He couldn't be a soldier. He couldn't be David. But he could be the man who ensured that no other father had to knock on a hotel room door in the middle of the night. From that day on, John Wayne's life became a mission. He started visiting hospitals in secret. No press, no photographers. Just a tall man in a Stetson, sitting by the beds of boys who had lost their limbs and their dreams. He would listen to them. He would hold their hands. And when they called him a hero, he would lean in and whisper, "No, son, you're the one I'm trying to be." June 11th, 1979. The Duke was gone. His funeral was a massive event, televised to millions. But as we mentioned before, an old man named Robert Chun was in the back row. After everyone left, Robert walked to the fresh grave. He didn't leave flowers. He left a small, metal object. A military dog tag. Not his son's. It was a dog tag the Army had secretly issued to John Wayne during his private visit to the front lines years later. On the back, it didn't say John Wayne. It said Marion Morrison. It was the only time in his life he had ever truly earned a piece of the uniform. John Wayne spent his life playing a lie, so that we could believe in a truth. He was a man who realized that being a hero isn't about the medals you wear. It's about the shadows you face when the lights go down. So, next time you see that tall man riding into the sunset on your screen, don't look at the gun. Look at his eyes. Because somewhere behind that legendary gaze, there is a man who finally found the courage to be real. He thought he was a fraud, but to a boy in Korea and a father in Monument Valley, he was the only thing that felt real in a world full of ghosts. Rest in peace, Duke. You finally earned the walk.